I like the section in your book where you talk about when you get comfortable, it's time to work that much harder so that you can get, consolidate on where you stand. It's not just about you being down in the dumps and then you're waging a comeback. No, it's probably as difficult to stay up there with your wits around you, about you rather, when things are going well. How does one do both?
It's really hard, I think, especially for women, because we're taught to let somebody else take their turn. You win, okay, so now somebody else can win. But the
Hmm.
reality is, in a capitalistic society, I really believe that when you have the most leverage, you got to hit hard, because you never know when you're going to need that, store of wealth that you only
Hmm.
had that chance to hit with. And so I think that it's something I didn't really learn despite being a big reader and, relatively well educated. I feel like I didn't learn some of these basic concepts of economics.
Hmm.
But through observing the chess world and the poker world and seeing how players react to wins and losses, I saw that there's so much focus in being resilient when you lose. That is important. But I saw that even more important is the people who, when they win, make the most of it.
Hmm.
That is where the money is, literally. I mean, literally, that's where the money is, because that's where you have that opportunity
Right.
to build and get compound interest. And I think that
Hmm.
if you miss out on that, it can be really hard to engineer later because it's not there naturally, right? And so
Yeah.
that's a message that I feel like I'm so glad you like that part in the book, because it's towards the end, but it's something that I feel so passionately about. And you see it very concretely in the game of poker,
Hmm.
where are you making the most money if you're playing a poker tournament? Well, obviously, when you have a lot of chips, because then you can double your chips if you play well. If you have very small chips, sure, it's important to be resilient, but there's a limit to how much you can win because you don't have a lot that you're working with. And these
Hmm.
are a lot of harsh lessons that I think like capitalism teaches us, but also games and game theory teaches us. And there's so much focus on these stories of the underdog and the comeback and the, reacting to failure, all very important, but an underemphasis, I would say, on this winner's mentality of continuing to hit when you've got the hot hand. And I actually
Hmm.
bring up an example in my own career where a lot of times when I won a big championship or had a great success, I would celebrate with my loved ones. I would coast a little bit. I would maybe take a vacation. I would relax. And looking back, I think I should have had the different attitude that when you're losing, you might actually want to do those things. And when you're winning, you just got to keep hitting. That's
Right.
that's your moment to to shine and to continue to shine.